Welcome to 17 Strong. Victories don't come by accident. Here's your host, Steve Teixeira.
Thanks, Andy. Welcome to another 17 Strong podcast. I'm your host, Steve Teixeira, along with my wife, Holly. Hi, babe.
Hi, how are you? I think we're a little out of practice.
We're out of practice. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
COVID hit us both.
Right?
Hit our families.
Well, Christmas, we had our fundraiser. We had a lot going.
Yep. So happy New Year to all of our listeners.
Yes.
And,
it's already February. It's almost...
I know. January was...
It was a blur.
Come and gone.
Yep.
Special guest today, Conan Bowers.
Thanks
Welcome.
for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Please.
Okay. I was in administration at Arroyo Grande High School for 15 years.
Okay.
The last 4, I was the principal. Before that, 10 years assistant principal and 1 year as an area administrator. Currently, I teach 6th grade at Dorothea Lang in Napomo.
Awesome.
I have 2 daughters.
Okay.
Kendall's 25. Kelsey is 30.
And you have a grandson?
I have a grandson, Daniel.
How old is he?
He is, put me on the spot.
I'm sorry, 6, 7?
He's 10 now.
Oh my gosh. He's 10?
He's 10. They grow up fast. He's in 5th grade, doing great.
He's in 5th grade. Oh my gosh. So where does he go to school?
He goes to Templeton.
Okay. She's up in that area.
Yep. He was raised here. Actually, when I was principal, I was playing around with his grandpa doing that, and he transferred up there when she got married.
That's awesome. It's a great area. It's a great area.
It's a great area. It's a small community, and
absolutely.
He was getting lost down here in the schools. He has ADHD, and
so did Ryan.
But
yes, I get that. I get it. Sometimes just a smaller environment works out better.
It did for him.
Good.
And I think COVID has actually done him good because he had to stay at home with his mom. She had the luxury of being able to work from home with her job. Nice. And he didn't get away from, quote, the school teacher mom. Sit down, do your work, focus, and she got to check up on him.
That's awesome.
Almost like being homeschooled.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And what does she do?
She is, I think, a purchasing agent for Ravissum, the old Strauss-Baugh computer company out by the airport.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Or something in purchasing.
Okay.
But he was one of those kids that he can use his humor and his joking around to get away from the answer and so forth.
Sure.
And not anymore.
Okay.
But he's top of his class now.
It's amazing.
He's killing it.
The shift in what little bit of tools or whatever, and they shift into, A's and B's or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
So we got to know.
Yes. So how did you meet Ryan? This is the good question. I know how I met you, but it was just through administration, and you were a teacher at Arroyo Grande, not at the junior high level, right?
I was elementary at Harlow Elementary.
Oh, Harlow before the high school. Okay.
Yeah. Ryan never went to Harlow.
No, Ryan never went to Harlow. We went to Shell Beach and then Judkins
and then
the Arroyo Grande. So,
and I got to Arroyo Grande in 2004. So
so you've been there with Pinkerton and
same year as Pinkerton, I got to Arroyo Grande High School.
Okay.
So I'd heard about Ryan through a former teacher, Jeff Peace, who you guys.
That is a blast from the past.
Yep. I forgot about
Jeff Peace. I didn't even know I forgot he was a teacher.
In fact, are they even in California anymore?
He's down in Redondo.
Oh, he's in Redondo.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And Jackson's graduated from the military academy or one of those schools in the Air Force. And Bellows graduated from college. And he's coaching football down, I think his alma mater down there at Mater Day or one of those.
Wow.
I just saw him the other day. I popped up on one of those Facebook pages or something.
Wow. Okay.
So I heard about him long before Ryan got to the high school because of Five Cities or Beach Cities baseball and all that.
Okay.
Great baseball player. And so I think Jeff came to me to help schedule him. I know he had Miss Davis towards the end of one of his teachers that helped the scheduling, but I'd heard about him and heard what a great kid he was, and you're going to like him and very personable. So I quasi knew about him then. My first time I really got to know Ryan was I gave Ryan detention after school because of his tardies.
Oh, this is so good. I did not know any of this. This must have been freshman year.
It was freshman year, but Mr. Goosen came to me and told me I gave him detention and want to know if he can work around it. And I said, why should we work around it? I mean, he's a freshman. We got to deal with it. Well, he has football practice after school, and can we do it before school? Ryan will do anything. I talked to Ryan, and Ryan thinks it's a mistake because he wasn't tardy. And
of course he wasn't.
I think
he thinks it's a mistake.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that.
It was third period math, I believe.
Oh, it was probably Colville.
No, that was a sophomore year.
Okay.
I think it was Mrs. Heron as I look back.
Okay.
I wish I still had my computer. I'd look it up, but he didn't come to me the first day he was supposed to come to me. And I remembered his freshman year, I believe he had a Pokemon backpack.
Oh.
And so he wasn't.
He might have.
He wasn't. He did.
He did.
I still.
Just to be
he
different.
remembers just to be different. Absolutely.
And he was a good sized kid, so I can spot him in a crowd. So the first day he didn't come to me, and I saw him like 35, 40 feet away, and it's like, I'm not going to chase him down. I'm going to wait till he comes to me. So I talked to Mr. Goosen, and he didn't come see me. Did he serve detention with you? And he didn't. So sent him another note that you need to see me. And he's really, really good friends with my daughter's best friend, Ken and Alicia.
Oh, yeah. Really good friends.
And Jordan.
Jordan, yep. They were all really good friends. And we knew them before high school. Like, junior high, had relationships with them. Yeah, for sure.
Correct. So I was just waiting for him to come see me. And he passed me every day. I think he brought him food every day. I don't know if it was freshman year or sophomore year, but every day he would offer me his food, like I didn't eat or something. I probably weighed 400 pounds back then.
Oh my gosh. He would be like, do you want something to eat?
Every day.
Every day.
Well, no, his freshman and sophomore year, he would actually offer me a Subway sandwich. I think he had that most often. Do I want half of it? And,
Yeah, you can thank Mama for that.
I wasn't starving by any means. Maybe he thought I was going to steal it from him.
Oh, that's so funny. But if he offered it to you, then he may not get in trouble. So, yeah.
Well, even before he was in trouble, he'd offered it to me. I think that's
okay.
just the way he was.
Yeah,
he was giving that way. But he came up to me and he said, I remember it specifically, he goes, "Hey, I'm Tex." And I said, "That's nice, Tex." But I wanted him to admit he's there because he has a tardy problem. And he goes, I'm here because you want to see me. I said, "Okay, see you for what?" And he goes, "You want me to serve a detention." I said, "Okay."
You wanted me not claiming that I was wrong yet.
I'm waiting for that to come out.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, I want you to serve a detention. Is that it?" And he goes, "Yeah, but I don't know what for." And I said, "It wasn't on the paper?" Because I normally write down. And he goes, "You said I have some tardies." And I said, "Well, I think you have some tardies." And I had his paper in my back pocket. So I pulled it out. I said, "You have a lot of tardies third period, and you're only allowed to have 3 before you get your first consequence." And I said, "You have a lot of tardies third period. They're nonstop every day. And your teacher's the one that alerted me to it. And so we got to deal with it." And so I said, "I'm going to take away this after school detention. I'm going to have you deal with Mr. Goosen from here on out if you get any more tardies." I said, because his consequence is going to be a lot worse than 45 minutes sitting in math hall and getting caught up on your work.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to take it light on you, Tex. I said, "Tex." I said, "I thought your name was Ryan."
In air quotes.
Yeah, I said, "I called you Ryan, and now you're having me change your name to Tex." I said, "Do you want me to call you Tex or do you want me to call you Ryan? Because if I have to call you Tex, I might have trouble typing Tex into the computer." He goes, "You can call me Ryan." I said, "Okay." Because friends call you Tex. And so I was calling him Ryan. And he goes, "I'll deal with Mr. Goose instead of you." Because I wasn't putting up the front of being his friend right off the bat.
Okay, gotcha.
And
so he ended up having to do that tardy.
No. Mr. Goosen told me he was going to play it tough on him at the beginning because Ryan was chummy with everybody. So he wasn't going to let him get away with it. Mr. Goosen was going to give him other consequences to make up for it because the coaches, like they had the 6:30 weightlifting.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The coaches made them come in at 5:45 and do their 45 minutes beforehand, like cleaning the weight room.
Right. Okay, so
Or
don't
stuff
you
like
think
that.
they need to talk to me about that? Because
Yeah.
I was the one bringing him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
We
seriously?
both were. Yeah.
Why do you have to be there so freaking early?
So
not knowing
The
that
coaches
he was in trouble.
would
Not
talk to you
knowing.
about that before and then
Yeah.
work something else out. Like
Yeah.
Saturday when they'd swim in the pool for
Yep.
after the game, they would stay after like 2 hours or something
And
to where Ryan was never tardy again in that instance. They didn't want to have to deal with all this. They wanted to put it back on the players.
Okay, gotcha.
So they weren't going to make him come in that early unless he was driving or
right. Because I kept saying to him, this doesn't make any sense. Why do you got to be there so early? Remember?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm having to like set 3 alarm clocks here, you know, and it was crazy. But yeah.
So they wanted to put it back on
him.
Ryan to face you of why you're getting up early and put it on Ryan.
Never did I know a thing. Because he didn't even place because he's going to go down saying that he wasn't tardy.
So I decided to follow Ryan because I talked to Ryan. How's it going? Great. And Mrs. Heron called me. She said, I believe it's Miss Heron. That was good, Bowers. You did a great job. He was tardy again. It's like, you're kidding me.
He was tardy again.
So I followed Ryan the next day from 50 feet. And I noticed
50 feet.
I was way back there. Ryan became the mayor. He would see a girl with a huge backpack and he would carry her backpack. And her class was a different wing. And he would like give it to her out front of her class. And it wasn't his girlfriend. It was just a random with a huge backpack where she had a box of stuff he would carry for her. Or someone was crying by herself and he'd stop and like talk to her or him. He was everyone's counselor on that blacktop. Or on a rainy day, he would like help someone over the water or take an umbrella that like 2 guys had. And he'd just like say, give me that umbrella. And like he would walk this girl with the umbrella he didn't know or give the girl the umbrella. And the 3 boys would walk and he would catch up later to get the umbrella. He was like everybody's friend. And he didn't realize that there was consequences to all of that.
Well, to him, the consequences outweighed
him.
And that's what
him helping.
So how long did you watch this for? Months?
That day. And then like 3 or 4 days after when Mrs. Heron, I believe it was Mrs. Heron, it might've been someone else. And we went and talked, me and the teacher, and we both agreed what Ryan was doing far outweighed our little silly policy. He was growing into a man at this point. Our silly little policy. Ryan was doing far better and was leading by example for other people of taking that backpack that was super heavy or that box that someone was carrying. Where was it from? Was it from one end to the other end?
I think he was in the ag department.
No, he was in the quad. Everyone was in the quad where my office was.
Okay.
Where you dropped off the sandwich to the 900 wing.
That's a hike.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
all the
got
way Valley Road. No, not Valley.
Well, you've got to move.
No, it's the 900 is the other side where you get off the highway.
So you don't have time to mess around.
It's 9 minutes, and it takes all of 9 minutes to get there with 2,500 people walking across there.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And half the people stayed on that side, and then they'd come this way. So it was just a wave going across each other.
Okay.
And then you'd meet up with the ag department coming this way. So it took a while. Plus, once the bell rang, you had to throw away your sandwich. You had to do whatever. Some kids
because it was only 10 minutes in between.
It was 9.
Oh,
it was a 2-minute warning bell, and then people had to use the restroom, and there was only 5 or 6 stalls in each restroom, so you had to wait in line.
Oh my goodness!
So we all agreed what Ryan was doing. And you guys know Teresa Long too, right?
Yeah.
She's
she's
100%.
an angel, and I knew when Teresa would come to me with that tardy slip that she didn't want to deal with Ryan because what Ryan was doing, it didn't deserve 45 minutes after school or 4 hours on Saturday. He wasn't malicious trying to be tardy. He wasn't goofing around.
So you just followed him for just a few days, and you realized
4, 5, 6, 7 days, and
he didn't know that you were following him.
No,
you were.
Because I can see Pokemon from a mile, and he was a good sized kid as a freshman.
I'm sorry, that's hysterical.
Hilarious.
Pokemon. I think I remember the backpack.
I do. I think it was yellow. I think I'm
yellow.
visualizing it.
I could see the backpack.
And it was a small backpack.
It was. It was a little kid's backpack.
Way up on his back by his, like a headrest almost.
Maybe that's why he wanted it small, so he could have all the other room for the
He was just
backpack.
trying to be a jokester.
I know.
The way
that's
he was.
all. That's all it was.
It might have been for a little bit of attention, but at that point there, I made an instant connection with Ryan because that's the way I am a lot of times. You never say no to anybody. It's even if you're there till 10 o'clock at night trying to help a lady from Lompoc jump her car in the pouring rain. She needed help.
Right.
And that's the way Ryan is. He helped anybody and everybody.
You know, it's funny that you say that because we've heard several instances since his passing of what he did to help save some of those kids
From bullying.
from
bullies.
bullying, because maybe it was like you said, a young girl, and she was the odd person out, and she was getting bullied on her way to class, and he would come up alongside and just put his arm around her and walk with her to class.
Yeah.
And that's all that he had to do, because the people
Would back off.
The bullies are saying, what is this jock doing with
Right.
her?
But I've had the mother cry to me, telling me that your son saved my daughter's life. Saved my daughter's life because she did not want to go to school, because she didn't want to take that route. She didn't want to go that route, but he took every day to go whatever class it was. This isn't one or two people that have told me this.
Right.
Yeah.
This has been several people that was, and it was just a simple thing that he did so that somebody wouldn't get made fun of, or bullied is the word that the mom used very well. Bullied.
Well, society uses that word, but Steve, I'm glad you recognize that, because the mere presence of someone like Ryan and his power, Jordan Harrigan, the fact that he just approached that girl, like I said, someone not having a great day, the fact that he approached someone that may have been being bullied, it changes the course of that conversation with someone else.
Yeah.
And
yes.
I think
more
Ryan
of it.
knew that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we need more of it today.
But Steve and I didn't know it. We didn't know that. And I'm talking like this particular person that I'm thinking of, she did not tell me for like 2 years. And she literally sat down and she said, Holly, I didn't know how to tell you this. And I didn't know. I didn't even know that Ryan knew her daughter. I didn't know. But it just blows my mind that one person could make a difference that big. But also that now that I'm hearing you, the administration realizing that it is a big deal, because a lot of times a rule is a rule, and why does he get to not follow the rule, but they don't know the behind the scenes of it, that you're
like you said,
making a difference.
It wasn't
in somebody's
malicious.
life. No, it wasn't malicious, but it also, because I've also heard another girl that contemplated suicide, but because Ryan was there and helped her through just walking to the class that she had the problem with, that saved her life, really, because she contemplated, suicide, which is crazy for me to think that Ryan was there at the right time in the right place.
But Ryan was being Ryan.
Ryan was just being himself.
Yeah.
He didn't want anybody else. He didn't want problems. Did he ever get in a fist fight with anybody?
No.
Okay. Cause I was like, do I not know something?
Well, what you just said, that I don't know if Ryan even knew that person. I guarantee you Ryan intervened a majority of times with people he didn't know, because seeing him walk across campus, and he spent many times in my office, like fourth period, he's part of the ASB class, where he just came in to talk to me because they weren't doing much. And a kid would come into my office either in trouble or having issues, and Ryan would take over on the conversation. He would be like the peer. Where you sat that day when you told me that Ryan had cancer was the exact spot Ryan always used to take. And when I was looking at you tell us that day he had cancer, I was looking at Ryan, and that's what hurt me so much that day was you look a lot like Ryan to me in your facial features and stuff.
See,
And I was looking at Ryan.
You made her day for that one.
I was looking at Ryan, who was my little mini counselor at times, because I have work to do. And a girl comes in struggling because her boyfriend's like doing this, doing that. And Ryan's like, he's just a guy. Why don't you just like ignore him for 3 days? He'll come around. He was giving all this advice from a boy. And, the minute you quit talking to him is the minute he's going to straighten up. So quit talking to him, block him.
Right.
And Ryan's giving all this advice I can't give her because I'm just a 50-year-old man.
Right.
So Ryan I would say your comment was, Ryan probably didn't know this girl, that girl. I guarantee you.
He didn't.
He didn't know a majority of those people he was helping. because he helped everybody. And if he knew that many people, he was at Paulding for one of those years, or he was at St. Pat's for one of those years, because Ryan, he just knew everybody.
Yeah, he knew everyone.
And he wasn't afraid to know 'em.
Everybody knew him. Like
of him, yeah.
Because we would go to, like, especially when he got diagnosed, we would go to like Efren's or something, and they would pay for our meal. And he goes, I know you from blah blah blah, and Ryan's like, you're welcome, Mom. You're welcome. Like, seriously, like, I was like, what just happened? What just happened? Just because I don't even know. He didn't know the guy's name. I'm not saying in Efren's, I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't know the guy's name. He just knew of him in maybe a class, maybe, you know, passing by somewhere. But everybody knew Ryan. Okay, but Conan, when I say that and when you say that, it's totally different. I mean, it just is different for me to hear you say that, because I could see it from a mom's perspective, you know, like, you know, all these people. He's like, no, not really. But, you know, he'll fake it till you make it type of thing.
Yeah.
He just was genuine.
Correct.
Like,
Right.
there was so much that I learned from the kid because it was just genuine heart. Like, and I always say he loved with his whole heart, like, just loved. And yes, was the prankster too, you know, and loved to have fun, because
He loved a good time.
He was, but he also earned everything. Your first sign you have coming into your properties out there, victories are earned.
Victories don't come by accident.
They don't come by accident.
Yes, that's it.
And I was thinking exactly, they're earned right there. And that's so Ryan, that first signed.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
and he didn't
so
take
crazy.
advantage of anything either. It's not like he used his popularity to gain anything. He was humble. He was
Right.
he
Well,
he worked hard.
Yeah, the story that I love, that when he asked the special needs girl,
Cody.
I wish I could see her again. I don't know where she's at, but anyway, this was a whole process for him because, you know, Nicole had already graduated from high school and he wanted to invite her to the homecoming or something, and he didn't want it to be a joke, you know, so he wanted to make sure that it asked Teresa Long if he could call one of the parents, to make sure that it was okay, so it wasn't a joke. And so we ended up doing that, and the whole process was kind of interesting how it all played out, because Steve and I ended up taking him because the dad didn't want him to drive the car, which was okay, whatever. So anyway, we did that, but anyway, I don't think that he realized, like, you know, it was a lot of work to take her, you know, and he was exhausted. Like, after he was done, he was like, whew, like, wow, that was a lot, you know, and it was just really exhausted. But the cool thing about it, I'll never forget, is when, because I think we got her a cookie, and we said homecoming as friends, because she supposedly had a boyfriend. So we didn't want to ruin, you know, we didn't want to, you know, shake any crazy things on that. And then, but she went to her special needs class, her class, and she says to her teacher, who the teacher is the one that told me this story. She said, hey, she goes, oh, you got asked to homecoming. And she goes, yeah, I don't think you're going to know him. He's really a popular guy, and he's on the football team, and he's got muscles and all this stuff, like totally describing him. And she goes, well, try me. What's his name? And she goes, his name's Ryan Teixeira. I don't think you're going to know him. She goes, I know Ryan Teixeira. So it was just super cool, because she was so, like, she didn't think much about it.
Yeah.
So what? It was this kid. He wanted to take me to the homecoming. It was no big deal. Like, you know, it was really no big deal to her. And she was in her jammies. It was jammy day. Both of them were in their jammies. So I have pictures of them in their jammies. And it just cracks me up.
And I don't even think they danced much, did they?
No, they didn't, because
watched the movie.
They watched a movie because that was what was so interesting to him, because she would talk to the movie. So she would actually, it was like the Penguin movie. What movie was that? It was a Penguin movie.
Oh, yeah, I don't
Because he's
remember.
like,
I do remember it being a Penguin movie.
yeah, and he would try to talk to her, but she was talking to the movie. So it was very interesting. And then he told her, I really love this song, let's go dance. And so he went in, and I don't know, Teach Me How to Dougie. I don't really remember. One of his favorite songs. He ended up, and so she got mad at him because he left her. You asked me to this dance and you left. And so Ryan's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like he was beside himself that he hurt her feelings, you know. But he thought that she was going to come with him. But anyway, it was just a really cool experience for Ryan to, you know, to do because he had never experienced that before. And so it was cool. It was really cool. I loved it.
That night, I remember vividly. It was the absolute neatest thing in the world. And I'm not the only administrator that shed a few tears that night watching that whole experience.
Oh.
It was absolutely the most awesome thing I've ever seen.
Steve and I cried too. We cried too because, first of all, we didn't know what happened, and Ryan was wanted to know, and so we asked Teresa Long, and she gave us a little bit of the background, and Ryan was, I can't even tell you, he was just super disappointed because when we took her home, mind you, the dad had told us that we had to drive them, which Steve and I respected that.
Yeah.
Get that? We drove them, and that she needed to be home by 10 o'clock, Conan, 10 o'clock. So we picked him up 15 minutes early, I think. And the dad was passed out on the couch, and Ryan's like, I can't leave her. I go, you have to leave her. He goes, but how does he know that I got her home at 10 o'clock? I said, you just take a pic, like whatever we have to do, but I'm here. Like, I know that you dropped her off at 10 o'clock. So he was so like, people live like this? How do they live like this? Like, so, lots of questions, but such a learning tool in the same token. And like you said, there were so many times where Ryan and I had just some really deep conversations about like, she didn't have to be like that. You know, it was, a sad situation that she is like that. So anyway, I don't know. Love that girl. I just think that she'll always have a special place in my heart. But
how about a cool Ryan story? Because I know
there's so many.
I know there's a snake story in here.
I want to hear
somewhere.
the snake story.
The snake story. Okay, I'll give you one of them.
One of the versions.
Ryan came to me one time. I was wearing this blue AGHS administration jacket, and he asked me if he can have one, or what is it going to take to get one.
Like,
because he was wanting to be, he wanted
like
to
a student need to be an administrator.
Yeah, why
know?
on earth? Yeah.
Well, that's another story about being a teacher. We'll get to that.
Okay.
And I kind of laughed at him because every morning we'd stand out in front of the school and students passed by us, and he would actually stop in his earlier day before he started dating Nicole. Later on, they'd walk in together, and he wasn't going to stop.
Oh, it wasn't
for me when he had Nicole. But a lot of times he'd stop and stand with us and greet students on the way in, or shake hands, or wave at people like we would do.
Was he mocking you, or
no,
he was seriously like?
A lot of people would stop because you had to come through basically 3 entries to the school, and that was one of them.
Gotcha.
So you got to see all the seniors that parked in that front of the school by the gym.
Gotcha.
So he wanted one of those jackets for some reason. They weren't anything special, but it said Arroyo Grande High School.
Just a blue jacket.
Yeah,
with
had the eagle on it.
Yeah,
some
5
gold
stars.
embroidery. The 5 stars for the 5 cities. And so he asked me for it for a little while. So our quad was getting eaten up by gophers. So one day I finally said, if you bring me a huge gopher snake to help me with my problems here, I'll give you a jacket, Ryan. I'll give you a jacket. And he kind of laughed, and I kind of laughed, and I knew that story was over. Well, the next day on my desk in some little box that I think to this day was shaking, now that I think about it, and was smacking around and all bulging out, was this huge snake. That,
on your desk.
That
on the
scared
desk.
me, yeah.
I think it was a cracker box.
Yeah. It was crazy because that's what he told me he put it in because he couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
They stopped. It was him and Nash because we heard this side of the story. It was him and Nash. They had just got done with batting practice.
They were probably tardy for practice.
You know.
Yeah.
And they were driving out the road, and they came across this, I don't know, at least 3 foot, if not longer, gopher snake, and they stopped in the middle of the road, and all they had was a Triscuits box in the car. and they grabbed this snake and they shoved him in a
Shoved it in, and then Ryan was like, "Okay, Nash, you gotta hold it." Nash was like, "Ah, like I don't want to hold this thing."
Yes.
You know.
And I remember I went to pick this box up on my desk, and it started like banging inside this box and shaking. And I dropped it and screamed and ran out of my office.
And the snake got out in your office, didn't he?
It got out of my office, and someone, I think probably like a 5-year-old girl, came and got it or something.
Oh my goodness.
But someone came and I saw from a distance, walked it out. And I followed them out into the quad and make sure they put it away into the ground. But they were holding it with 2 hands or holding it up in the air. I think Dwight McDonald might have came and got it.
Oh, this is
because he
so
was
funny.
like right down the hall as I
Right.
was screaming like a girl. I didn't like snakes at the time.
But you asked for one.
Yeah, but you asked for it for the quad.
Yes.
But he stuck it on on your desk
Correct.
and left, right?
And left.
Because he had practice to go to.
Yeah, and I don't know if he knew I didn't like snakes or I had a snake phobia at the time. So
When he found out.
he got his jacket.
Oh, he got his jacket.
He got his jacket.
Yeah, and you got your snake.
And I got my snake. And the funny part of this is Nolan and Nash, who were his very close friends, a couple weeks later, there was a big screaming going on the quad one day. So I ran out there to find out what was going on. And Ryan's snake got loose in the quad one day. It came out of its hole on a sunny day. And Ryan wasn't there, but the snake was roaming around and out in the sun, and people were yelling and screaming. And this little girl had to be a freshman or a sophomore, about 4'6". Nolan and Ash were screaming like babies, and this little girl went right in between them and picked up the snake and walked it over to another hole as they
and just shoved it in.
Yeah, they wanted nothing to do with it, yet they were brave the day the snake came into the office.
Oh, yeah. Of course they were.
Did the snake help your gopher problem?
Well, I
Like,
got a few more snakes after that. Not only did they bring me some more live snakes to taunt me with and kind of make my snake phobia.
Yeah.
They brought one and put it in my face as I was talking on the phone to a parent,
oh, no.
where I said a few choice words and jumped over my desk trying to get away from them.
Oh,
Where the
my
parent
God.
thought I was getting mugged.
Oh, yeah.
They put a dead one on my desk with its head propped up. I actually put it on my chair and turned my chair around backwards. So when I turned my chair to sit in it, here I had this massive snake sitting on my chair. That scared me, like, and my heart and my
Like, oh, yeah.
blood pressure went over the top to where I thought I was dead. And there was a few others, and then they topped it all off by unloading 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 crickets into my office one day for a prank. With a note saying, "Don't worry, the snake will eat them."
Do you have these notes?
I don't have the note, but
Oh.
I collected the crickets by jugs full.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No.
And you didn't give them a consequence on that, or they wouldn't tell you.
I didn't hear about
I didn't hear about the crickets
We heard
either.
about the snake.
I heard
I
all
acted
about
like
this.
the crickets didn't even happen. They were getting cleaned up before, and I shut my door and put a blind over it and acted like I didn't know there was a cricket in there. I wasn't let them get the best of me.
Oh, that is hilarious.
No.
So
Just
yeah.
like the day they stole my truck. I wasn't going to let them know I didn't know my truck wasn't there. I rode my bike everywhere. I even rode it home that day.
They stole your truck.
They
Yeah.
stole your truck.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
I left my keys on my desk one day, and they took the liberty of taking my truck and moving it into the village one day. And then they kept making hints about, can you go somewhere? Can you get us this, do that? Wanting to see me go look for my truck.
And what gave you the first indication that your truck wasn't around?
I think they might have gave me money for lunch or something, or had me do something. And I went out there, and I always parked on the end because I got there between 5 and 6 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And my truck wasn't in the end spot. It's like, oh, they got me on this one.
Oh, no.
They wanted me to do something 4 or 5 times, and it wasn't there. And I hit the panic, the red button.
Yes.
And the horn didn't go off.
So you knew it
You're
wasn't
like,
close.
okay,
It
it's
wasn't
not
there.
Close. Yeah, because would it have done it if it was in the back lot?
No, you had to be within 100 yards or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I walked over in front of the gym and I did it, and it was nowhere around. So I got on my bike after I acted like I didn't want to do anything. Went to the back parking lot, went on Valley Road, every parking lot, and it was nowhere to be found.
So how did you end up fighting it?
I talked to our school SRO, and I said they played a prank on me. I don't need an all points bulletin out for this truck.
Yeah, just let me know where it's at.
Let me know. And he started laughing. I said, it's not funny. He goes, this is funny. So he called a few, Officer Martinez and a few of my friends that were AGPD, and you can hear them just laughing. Or it was funny, the principal's car got stolen, but his keys were still there.
And they're going to deny it until yeah, exactly. They're going to deny it. And so still to this day, you don't know which one did it.
No, but I got a call from Nick Nestor the other day, like at 10 o'clock at night. And I didn't answer because I was sleeping, but it just brought it back all these memories of like my house getting toilet papered.
Oh my gosh.
It's like,
wow.
With me inside of it, because my curtains were open and you can see like in, but you can't see out. And they called me just asking how I was doing as they were toilet papering my house. It's like, okay, three Stooges, you got me on that one.
But they're tricky about what they do and how they.
And it was not malicious, by any means.
Not at all.
And
it was just to make you laugh and get one on you. Yeah.
So the snake incident was finally I just said, okay, let's stop the snakes. You want that one? I got this axe I had this battle axe in my office. I confiscated off some kid that looked like it could have killed 100 people. I said, next time a snake comes in this office, I'm getting that battle axe out of my closet. I'm done with snakes. Let's pick something else.
Funny.
If I'm not mistaken, that snake showed up again during one of the baseball games. Because we had to call timeout because I was the announcer for the game.
I remember that too.
It wasn't the same snake, but they turned to me and just started busting up.
They
it was
did.
A kid
They
from
did.
Culver City, and I still have it on video where he's running and hopping in the outfield, and he ran all the way to the dugout.
Yeah.
And then the umpire went out there, thought he would take the snake, and all of a sudden you can see the snake jump. They claimed that was the same snake, but
it was a different one.
He would have to go a long ways, but I was sitting in the dugout that day, and they turned and came out of the dugout and just started laughing at me like, there you go, Bowers.
look what you did.
I actually think Nolan went out and got that snake, didn't he?
Someone from our dugout did.
Yeah.
The umpire thought he would get it, and the snake like lurched at him, and he's like, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
It's a gopher snake, not a rattlesnake.
I know. That's so funny. So many good stories. So you told me one time that you had a story that you told at the first day of your school. When you were teaching, what, 4th grade, 3rd grade, 6th grade, I don't remember. Do you remember that story at all?
Which one was it?
I don't know. You just told me I remember checking with you one day and you're like, I tell a Ryan story at the first day of school, and I'm like, oh, I need to know what that story is. But I mean, if you don't know, you don't know.
I got 100 stories, but
I know, right?
The first day at Lang, I had the 17 strong flag up.
That's right.
And some of my kids started talking about it. They play baseball, they play different sports and all that, and this was in 4th grade, and they already told me that they are going to Arroyo Grande High School because they wanted to play baseball and they wanted to follow on Ryan's footsteps and so forth like that. And in 4th grade, in the Pomo, out in the hills, I mean, I'm halfway to Kansas, way out there.
Right, out there, that's right.
And they had already
decided
they're going to Arroyo Grande High School, and they knew about Ryan. They knew what that 17 strong flag was all about.
That's so cool. That is That's awesome. Cool.
And last time I talked to him, and this was a big kid. He played on the All-Stars and all that. He told me he's still going to Arroyo Grande High School, so it hadn't changed at that point.
That is so cool.
Big Dodger fan still.
Cool.
That's something I share with Ryan was the Dodger stories.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we do need one more story because I want to hear the fair story.
The fair story, yeah. And then, the fair story. Do you remember the fair story at all?
I remember it quite well.
Okay.
I took my grandson. He was probably 6 at the time. And we went on a Wednesday because you won.
Oh, yeah, Dollar Day.
Dollar Day.
Dollar Day.
Dollar Day, you got to ride so much for $1.
Yeah.
And he was just a little kid. He's still the smallest kid in his class, a small kid. And he wanted me to do everything. I got this picture where we went to watch my students play baseball, and I was kind of crouched down where you kind of sit like a catcher on the back.
Right.
And I was getting out of the wind. Well, someone took a picture, and my grandson sitting just like I am, where I'm crouched down on the back of my knees. He's crouched down just like that because he wanted to be like his papa.
Oh, so
Everything
cute.
we did together. And so,
Aw.
anyways, he convinced me to go on this dragon ride. One of those dragon roller coaster things that just go around in a circle, up and down, up and down. And it's only about 15 seconds that you go around. But I'm 6'4", and
I'm surprised you fit in.
I know, right?
I don't think I did fit in it, but I stuffed myself into it with my grandson.
Yeah.
And
Because that's what you do when you're a grandpa.
exactly,
Yeah, when you're
and
a
I
papa,
think
you do that.
I squeezed him out of it. I mean, he was like. So, anyways, we went round and round like 5 times, and it took about a minute. And I wasn't feeling good at this time. It's like, okay, it's going to end. It's only $1. What's the big deal?
It's gonna end in a minute.
Anyways, we keep going round and round and round. I'm not feeling good. Like, I'm ready to vomit at this point. It's like, dang, how long does this ride go? My grandson's having a good time. He loves all these roller coasters. And we just kept going and going. I look down, and I see Ryan down on the ground next to this carny guy that is just busting up. And I noticed Ryan's feeding him dollars or tickets on Dollar Day. So
To keep it going.
Ryan's keeping this ride going. And I'm
Oh my
looking at
God.
Ryan every time I go by, and I think I'm ready to throw up. And I'm shaking my head at Ryan, and I can't let Ryan see how weak I am. And this ride's, I think, to this day is green and purple.
Yeah.
And I'm just as green and purple, and I'm bigger than the dragon head.
Yeah,
Sticking out
exactly.
behind
And
this
there was
ride.
nothing you could do to get off.
Nothing I can
Nothing.
do. And
You were at the mercy of the carny.
Yeah.
and Ryan.
Yeah.
And to this day, if Ryan was still with us, he would still laugh at that.
Oh, yeah.
He's still.
Oh my gosh. But
he-
your grandson had a ball, had so much fun. It wasn't
And
about
if you ask Ryan would say, "Oh, I was just helping your grandson have a good time." And then he'd ended up at your expense, but he had so much fun with that, and I was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I think I
gosh.
had vertigo for like a year after that, and felt
Oh,
horrible.
Oh, I know.
You
I
know, my favorite story about Ryan.
I was going to ask you. This is good. Because,
That's one of my favorite laugh stories because I felt horrible for like a week after that. My stomach.
oh, I bet.
I blamed it on the fair food, but
True, because you have to have a corn dog before you go on the ride.
correct.
Yeah.
Is Ryan had a lot of tardies his senior year.
Oh, along with his freshman year.
Yeah.
So that we're hearing. Yeah.
But he learned that if he'd come to me before Teresa sent him to me, it was a lot easier. If he manned up and took responsibility, we treat things different. Like anything in
Oh,
life. If
sure.
you approach me
Right.
before I approach you, we can talk about it and we'll move forward. And consequences, I always explain to kids, were to change your behaviors. And that's the only reason when you stick your key in that outlet, we don't slap your hand to hurt you. We slap
Right.
your hand. So next time you go to do that, you don't do it again.
Right.
That's all the consequence is. Well, his senior year, he got into duck hunting in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And around Thanksgiving, he got into turkey hunting and was trying to convince me to
Yeah, I
go
know.
turkey hunting with him in the
Of
morning.
course.
That was his out to be late every day and show up at 10 o'clock. And I noticed out my window, he had this pattern of bringing a different kid with him at times to be late. So the other kid would also get in trouble with him. And
Oh.
all this
So
stuff.
it wasn't just him.
it wasn't just him, but he was also being friendly to other kids and they were his friends and stuff like that. And I didn't want to change Ryan's behavior because that's what his love was duck hunting and hunting and turkey hunting and all that stuff. I didn't want to change his behavior because his first 2 periods were not academic and so forth. They were meaningless. I think one was like a TA or
But he knew he had to be there for Miss Willis's class, and
Correct.
he would be there with duck like camo on and everything.
Oh,
But he
yeah.
was there. He
and
was
Miss
there.
Willis also approached me. And I was going to talk about that.
I want to talk about that. Yeah.
Because Miss Willis loved Ryan and she knew a consequence was also to change behaviors. And Miss Willis was strict.
She's very strict, and she won't make you graduate strict.
Correct. But she also knew Ryan's abilities and how hard Ryan tried. And rules were rules, but she also went by that same rule I did that we don't have to be so strict when you're passionate about what you do. Like she's passionate about what she does. And she played along with me, and she played along with Ryan that this isn't the end of the road, end of the world, because Ryan is duck hunting in the morning. If Ryan needs to come sit in your 5th period class instead of your 3rd period class or 2nd period class, then he'll go sit in your 6th period class. It's the same lecture. If he loves duck hunting that much to where he's willing to get in trouble, then let's make some other things for him to come in 5th period, or he can come at the end of the day and do your 6th period, which he's going to hate because he's going to miss baseball.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so he went along with that. But through that, I started talking to Ryan about my dad, who was getting ready to die, and my dad's love of duck hunting and going out to Morro Bay and getting all camoed up with him. And I was basically the guy that went and chased the duck in all the marsh out there. And
You were the Labrador Retriever.
Yeah.
yep, because we didn't have one.
Yeah.
And Ryan started talking about his gun, and I said, well, it's kind of embarrassing because his gun's so beat up and all that. And he goes, can I take a look at that gun? And I said, yeah, sure. Kendall goes hunting out at the women's club on Thursday nights with it. But she's all upset because she can only hit 22 out of 25 ski because the gun doesn't, the sights aren't. I said, but I can't bring it on campus and all that. I said, you have to hook up with Kendall to look at the gun. So Kendall put the gun in her car one day, and they met up somewhere and looked at it. And like 3 weeks later, Ryan says, hey, come out to my car. So I went out to Ryan's car, and Ryan had my dad's shotgun there. And it is the most beautiful thing that you have ever seen. Ryan took it to someone, or I thought he said his uncle or someone, I don't know, but they had redone my dad's whole shotgun to where the stock, the barrel, everything is completely redone on this gun.
I didn't even know that story.
Completely redone. I'll bring it out. I have it hiding underneath my bed right now, and I have to take apart my bed to get this thing out because I don't want someone stealing it because I don't have a gun safe. But you have to, my bed you have to bolt together to actually get it apart. So I have 3 guns hidden under there that were all my dad's. My other guns are just in my dresser and locked up and cheap safe. But he had taken my gun somewhere, and he worked with someone. It was probably 5 weeks now, I think, at 5-6 weeks. And Kendall kept it a secret from me that she didn't have my dad's gun anymore. And anyways, somewhere, I thought he said Grover somewhere, but they brought the gun back, and it's completely, the stock is the bright red it was, or mahogany red it was, and the barrel's redone. I mean, it is.
I'm going to have to ask Garrett about that. I wonder if Garrett.
But Garrett, this is his senior year.
His senior year.
Yeah, but he told Garrett everything.
But I'll take a picture of it and show it to you. But Kendall doesn't even want to shoot it. She went out and shot it a couple times, and
your dad had already passed.
He passed in 2016. Okay.
So Ryan graduated in 15. So,
So your dad's been gone 6 years.
So what, so it was before he graduated. Before Ryan graduated, right?
Yeah.
This happened.
It was before he graduated, yeah.
So was it before he got diagnosed or after he got diagnosed?
It was right around the same time. I don't know the exact dates when. It was Ryan's senior year.
Because he was diagnosed in April 19th.
It had to be before that.
It had to be before.
Probably before, because it was
a baseball season, and then when treatment started and everything else. Because
that was May.
It was before.
It was before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
I did
it would
not
have been,
know this.
Because my dad was hanging on, and we'd talk about, inevitably your parents are going to pass away. And my mom passed away when I was in 4th grade. And it was one of those deals that it's your last parent. What do you do? How long do you hold on? He's bedridden and all that. And
did you and Ryan talk about things like that, or?
We did, because Ryan wanted to take me duck hunting. That's what he wanted me to be late to my work one day. And I said, it's tough because you got to be here, and I'd love to go duck hunting just to watch you hunt. And it brings back my memories of going out to Oso Flaco when we used to be able to hunt out there with my dad. And
that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
You haven't been able to hunt Oso Flaco in a long time.
But he would hunt out there early in the morning, and I would be his Labrador. And then next day we'd head up to Morro Bay, and because my dad loved to hunt. Duck hunt, and then we go into Guadalupe and get a breakfast burrito or something at some little liquor store, and I'd be plucking feathers in the back of the truck.
Oh my!
Because we can ride in the back of the truck back then.
So no wonder, Ryan. And did you even know that you had like that Ryan loved duck hunting?
I didn't know till then. I didn't know
'Cause-
the severity of his love of it when it came time. So what are we going to do, Ryan? You've been late 2 weeks. And he goes, whatever you want to do, I'm fine with that. And that's when I realized I don't want to change his behavior. I don't want him to miss.
Whatever
If
you
he's
wanna do.
willing to not park on campus and have to park at Walmart because I took your permit because you have to get here to ride with someone else. If he's willing to do all that stuff. No,
What's
I'm
the
not. I
point?
don't want to change that behavior.
Yeah. Did your dad get to see the gun redone?
No. And he got to the point at the end where he probably wouldn't have recognized it.
Mm,
But I'm a strong believer. He saw it,
yeah.
From
I
above
believe
and-
that. I believe that.
stuff like that. And he had 6 kids and 6 guns. So when he passed, I was in charge of his estate. So we all put everything in his house, and everyone went through one by one to take something because I didn't know how to do about all this stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I didn't want anything. I wanted my sisters to all pick what they wanted. And then whatever they didn't want, I would take from my daughters. And so my sister said, what do you want? You can go first. And I said, I just want the shotgun. So that's all I took.
Wow.
And then my other sister who went second, she took a different gun. She goes, I thought you might like. And then my next sister, she took a different gun. So I ended up with all 6 guns.
What?
And then they went around again and took a couple things from my daughters, and that was it. Like a quilt and
Okay.
tea sets and all that. And then they took all of the rest.
Wow.
My
But that was it. But
goodness. Unreal.
that was my favorite story for Ryan because he was really proud and he brought it right on campus. It's like,
Yeah.
and I opened Kendall's trunk and put it right in her trunk.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
she was going home right after that. And I just started crying. It's like, are you sure that's the same gun? And it was like,
Wow.
he goes, yeah, I'm sure. It's like,
I got to get to the bottom of that.
I got it. Yeah, I would love to see like a picture before and after too.
I'm going to look and see if I have a picture before, but
I
it was just a
need-
nasty looking gun. And now it's just like, it's night and day. But
We had nothing to do with that.
I
Absolutely.
didn't even know about it.
I wish I did.
well,
but
that's what I was
knew
going to ask you about
nothing.
your uncle or whoever is in.
We don't know at all who you're
No,
talking about.
I don't know.
I don't have
I don't
any
have a
connections.
gunsmith in my family at all.
No. I mean, I can't even remotely think about who that would be. I mean, I would think
And
the outdoorsman, but that was after.
No, but the person that's coming to mind is Huguenard.
I know, but how would he know Huguenard's? I mean, I guess he would know his number.
I'm going to see if there's a
But-
card or anything in the case.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he didn't even hesitate when we were talking about duck hunting and all that. And I said, well, I got an old gun, but just beat up. And I started explaining my dad's stories, and it bring back a lot of memories. Cause I went to, at the time I was living with my dad, I moved in to help raise him his last 3-4 years. Cause it got expensive with the nighttime nurses, and he had 24-hour care. So I'd take care of him at nighttime. Moved into his house in Orchid and I get there by 6 and raised him till like 5 in the morning and did all that stuff. So I said, it'd just be hard going duck hunting and
Yeah.
doing all that.
Yeah.
And that's when Ryan, I told him just a piece of junk gun now and this and that. And well, let me take a
Wow.
look at it, see what I can do for you and all that. And
Wow, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
so
That is
it's-
so amazing. I am just blown away.
I know that we wanted to talk about when we met in your office and the diagnosis and everything, but we are on the 5-year anniversary of Ryan's passing, which I can't believe it's been 5 years.
that day is so vivid.
The day is so vivid, and it's like he's still here with us
Did you
every
get
day.
to hear Brad Latchman's podcast at all? You should
No.
listen to it because we talked about this and all what happened prior to the meeting is all on Brad's. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy. So Brad knew when he walked into that office.
Oh, I didn't know there was the podcast,
Yeah.
but that I don't
He's
do
so-
a lot of
he
social
doesn't-
media.
But
And
that's
I,
okay.
that's all right, neither
That's
do I.
okay. But
But-
these are the best stories, and that's the main reasons I wanted to chat with you is because you have like one of my favorite memories. Because when Ryan and Nash would talk about that snake story, we would roll crying like down our face because
Just to hear those boys tell the story.
it was just so funny. And then You're the one that told me the story about your grandson, not Ryan. Ryan never would have told me anything like that, just because. But that's the way he worked. You know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't even have thought anything about it. You know, I don't know. But I do want to ask one thing.
Yeah.
What does 17 Strong mean to you now that you know Ryan? You see what that. You know, what he represents, what he's like, you know, his heart. Now we're, like Steve said, it's, you know, it is coming up on 5 years, and it's just unreal. But what are your thoughts about 17 Strong and how some 18-year-old kid can think of something so much bigger than him?
Well, it really hit home this weekend. I went to the Pro Bowl and was hanging out, and I got to meet James Conner, who is the running back for the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he originally got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, his first year in college, he was diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
And he had to miss basically his freshman year into his sophomore year because he told me the name of it, but I forgot it.
Right.
But basically his whole family was on alert. Here he was, super high rated prospect all through high school, sought after and all that. And then his dreams were gone. He all of a sudden had cancer and spent 2 years fighting it and all that. And family thought, done. And then he battled back from that to last 2 years, ended up getting drafted into the NFL. And I got on the internet, started reading about what the parents went through and all that. And instantly my mind went straight to Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Here you are, the star athlete. And I mean, this guy
Going to be drafted.
halfway through it, I'm thinking, you know, my sister had cancer, her daughter has cancer and all this. And then James says, do you mind if I pray with you? It's like, this is a pro athlete, no tattoos, no girlfriend. He did this little charity event.
Who is this guy?
The guy I'm with from Nashville, my realtor, who I called him on because we made a really good friendship with Mr. McDonald and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
He runs a rehab center, one of the few faith-based rehab centers that's not like AA. It's all done through Christ and all that.
Oh.
That basically you can get over saying what you've done in the past, but turn your life over to God.
Oh my
And
goodness.
you can get through all your addiction issues. He started talking to my friend. Let's not talk about me anymore and my football and my cancer. Let's talk about what you're doing in rehab. And then all of a sudden he gave us his phone number because he wants to stop into this rehab center and let me work with your man and let me work through Christ with you because he saved me through cancer and all that stuff. And I'm just thinking of this whole 17 Strong. There's much more out there to help people.
You need to tell them about us and Ryan's
Yes.
story.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I need to talk to that guy.
Because I went online and I bought a jersey. And I'm going to buy another jersey.
What's his jersey number?
It's 6.
Oh, it's 6. Okay.
It's 6. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I was going to talk to him about, because it's hard to change the NFL. You got to pay thousands.
Oh, I can only imagine.
You got to
Yeah.
buy every jersey that's ever been printed
Oh my god.
because you got to pay him back for the jersey.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
if you
insane.
switch jersey numbers. But he's willing to stop by that facility out in Tennessee, outside of Nashville, to talk to these people. So what if you're in an area where something like this is going, are you willing to stop by and talk about being cancer survivors and all that? So, or you willing to send some gear type of thing, but just the fact that he's willing to talk and stuff like that.
That's
I
amazing.
Need,
It
and
was
you,
over.
you met him and you know you
Yeah.
know somebody that can contact him.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Correct.
Amazing.
Well, and I think a lot of what we've heard today speaks volumes about Ryan and his foresight with 17 Strong. I mean, it goes back to him being a freshman and you having to follow him around to see why he started the class because he was always putting the other person first.
Correct.
Always. And we're right here. That's exactly what we're doing. We're literally, he did not get the Make-A-Wish or
His
the
victory
victory
trip,
trip.
right.
He did not get that. But he wanted to make sure that Steve and I sent every single person that we could on a victory trip.
Well, let me ask you a question. Are you sure Ryan wouldn't have gave that victory trip away?
Oh, he probably would have.
He would have.
100%.
He probably would have gave it to someone else and said, "I've lived my
100%.
life. Now
100%.
enjoy this."
Yeah,
Yep.
I know 100% he would have. But there's a whole nother aspect to it when you think about an 18-year-old that thinks about somebody else besides himself. Like it's just so the most unselfish thing. And these trips are changing people's lives. And
Yeah.
I never in a million years would have said, "Oh, send somebody on a vacation," and no, it changes their life. I did not know this. Steve did not know this. We see it every day. These
We
people,
live with
these cancer survivors, and in every cancer survivor, every victory trip recipient is a connection to Ryan, and it's so powerful. And I cannot. It's overwhelming. It really is overwhelming. Today has all been overwhelming because I have to say probably half of those stories I didn't even think I knew. And I just thank you so much for coming. And
Yeah,
I got one I got to share real quick.
Go ahead.
I got back at Ryan one time. Ryan asked me if he can go down to Donut Delight one day with a couple of his friends because we weren't doing it. It was like an assembly or something. I forgot what it was.
I mean, that's walking distance anyway.
Yeah, he wanted to go get something to drink or something like that. And I said, sure, just don't get caught, whatever. Because you weren't allowed to leave campus. So he went down and I got a radio call from the campus security that there's a couple of people down here at the donut shop. And they said that you gave him permission. Is that true? And I said, who? And they said the initials are RT and something else. And I said, no, I didn't give anyone permission. And he goes, are you sure? And I said, I'm positive I did not give anyone permission.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So anyways, they come marching back with the police officer. And I'm in front of the school. I said, put him in my office. Shaking my head at him.
So much for moving the car.
I followed him right into my office, just started busting up. Everyone's staring at Ryan and whoever, Nash or someone else.
That's funny.
I just started busting up.
Oh my goodness. I can't. I can't.
Ryan was not happy with me.
Well, yeah, all those paybacks.
Yeah,
all those
exactly.
paybacks. Yeah. That is insane. Well, I just
that was a mic drop moment.
that was, yeah. Because
So-
it was hard to get him. It was hard to get him because he's
Oh gosh.
yeah, he was always a busybody and everybody else's
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Well,
Anyway.
Mr. Bowers, as Ryan would always
Yeah,
say,
Mr.
thank you
Bowers.
so much for this time and sharing your stories
Ah,
of
loved it.
It's just it lightens a sad mood as we come into the 5-year anniversary of his homecoming. And thank you for continuing your work in
Yes.
education.
Yes.
And as you get ready to retire here in the next couple of years and move to Tennessee, as you said offline, so that's
Yep.
great. But
never forget about 17 Strong.
no,
Don't
No,
ever forget about
and
us.
I should do more for seven. I mean, I wear Ryan's hat all the time. I wore it back to Tennessee when
And
and
people recognized you.
and I explain again what 17 Strong is when people ask me.
That's
I did
awesome.
do a pitch to, I don't know if you know Alex and Ani, the jewelry
Oh
company.
yes, I do. I do remember that.
I made a pitch to them because they always sell the bracelets on
Yeah.
foundations because doing the 17 Strong, what it means and all that. And I never heard back from them, but I
know.
tried doing something
Hey.
for.
All you do is try.
that's
That's
all you
it.
can do.
Exactly. I
That's
got
it.
stonewalled from them, but there comes a time when we'll have a little bit more time here in a couple of years.
Yep.
And who knows?
Yep.
that's it.
Things are big.
I met a
So-
guy this weekend, super genuine guy for the Atlanta Falcons. And I can get you some gear from there, but I think that's going to lead to a lot bigger things because
That's big.
he's only 18 and he's one of the best tight ends in football. And
At 18 years old.
18, number 4 draft choice in the first round this year. And he super grounded. And
you have favor with those people. We
he,
need to.
my niece has cancer, and he actually invited her to dinner tonight. She's 40, but he's on the Super Bowl, and he's like, I'm going to be at Nobu tonight, not doing anything. If your niece, because she's a huge Falcon fan, if she wants to join me for dinner, but she's up in the Sacramento area.
Oh,
I don't even want to
goodness.
tell her because
I
she
know.
can't get there, but
I know.
he's
That's
just
hard.
that way. It's like, oh, I can use this guy maybe for something.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
that's awesome.
It's
So-
all good stuff. So,
Yeah.
okay.
But
we're
again,
gonna wrap
thank
it
you.
up.
We
Thank
got to
you.
wrap it up.
Appreciate it.
And thanks to our studio engineer who's sitting over
Yes.
there,
Yep. Thanks.
Nate Hand.
Nate Hand. That's
and
right.
just remember, and I think today really sums it up,
Yeah.
that attitude is everything.
You've been listening to 17 Strong. Victories don't come by accident. To be part of the show, make a donation, or request more information, go to 17strong.org. That's SEVENTEEN strong.org.